Yes, I received 2 snow globes and 2 stuffed animals with hearts. Very interesting. Jess also had somebody that wrote a letter that said they had seen her on one of our family. I guess we just call it Our Life, but it's displayed on television. And he saw that on her 18th birthday she went skydiving. So he was trying to be very romantic as he wrote this letter to her, explaining how he liked her, and said that she jumped out of the plane and into his heart.
And then I had another one that was just a guy. He basically was saying, "Oh, I would like you to come to my party, and I'm going to be having it at Disneyland, and oh, I get in free for my birthday, but you can pay, bring your own money and everything." It was like, okay.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Monday, February 7th. We just finished up our recap of Sister Wives, which, by the way, wow, that was a doozy. We have some more stuff of Sister Wives coming up this week. It's going to be kind of a heavy Sister Wives week if you love that kind of content. We will continue on with the Duggars, and we'll be trying to weave in some other content in as well. As much as we love to talk about the Duggars, there's so much out there that is on my mind that I want to talk about too. So one thing I wanted to talk about was Anna Duggars returned to Instagram with her defense of Josh. Okay, so it wasn't really a defense. She just said there was more to the story. She had not posted anything on her social media in months since the verdict had come down for Josh. He filed a motion in January, post-trial, asking for an acquittal, a new trial, or for something to be dismissed. In the 27-page document, which went to KNWA, which was posted by the news outlet in their area, detailed that, Caleb Williams was the culprit. And I told you a couple weeks ago that a source told me that they really did feel that Anna believed that Caleb was the guilty party here. Well, as I was looking at the post, first thing I noticed is, one, the comments were turned off. So literally not a single person could comment. Some of you are wondering, could she have been paid for this? Doubtful. This was a Google Doc that she had shared, and there was no ads on it. It wasn't an article that she shared. It was literally a document. But one thing I did notice for sure was that not a single Duggar liked her post. So Anna had not said a word publicly. She has not said anything about Josh. She has not said anything about the family. She has not said a word, but posts this thing. But no one from the Duggars liked the post. Not even the Duggar family. So I've told you that Jim Bob and Michelle, according to my sources, believe that Josh is guilty and that Anna is the only one left that actually thinks that Josh is guilty. Well, based on the fact that literally nobody actually liked her post from the Duggars, I would assume that could be right on track. Not to mention, I'm sure most of the Duggar family wants to distance themselves from this drama and pretend like it didn't happen, so they continue on with their social media lives and make their money. But for Anna's part, she breaks her silence by sharing this post, and not even Jim Bob and Michelle liked the post. The only person I noticed on here that liked the post was her sister Priscilla and her brother-in-law David. So Priscilla and David Waller liked this post, which I don't know if that's super surprising. David was at the trial with Josh and Anna the whole time. They stayed after the trial to help Anna deal with some of the stuff afterwards. And I'm not surprised that they would like that post, because maybe it's easier for them to also believe that Josh is not guilty. So with Anna's return and no support from the Duggar family, this seems to confirm what my sources had been saying for a very long time, is that Anna was the only Duggar that actually believes that Josh is innocent. Now, the Duggars, for their part, have been taking a lot of heat over the last few months, obviously not only because of what Josh has done, but their ties to this very controversial organization called what? The IBLP. Yes. We talk about the IBLP all the time. It's the organization that was founded in the 1960s by Bill Gothard, who is now not a part of the IBLP because he was sued by 12 women for inappropriate conduct when they were minors. Last week, I told you about how the IBLP issued a media release about an article or some sort of investigation that NBC News had made to them with questions about their organization and overall the connection with the Duggars and the lawsuit. They put out this statement basically trying to distance themselves from anything to do with the Duggars. They tried to say that their teachings do not actually support an idea that women are inferior, and they tried to say that they don't condone or promote any kind of abuse of anyone, which is flat out not true. And then they also talked about how in the middle of a lawsuit when 12 women had sued Bill Gothard, that the plaintiffs withdrew their lawsuit after they were in the discovery phase when documents had to be sent over. Well, on Sunday, that article came out by NBC News, which, if we're going to be completely honest, nothing was groundbreaking in this article. Obviously, it tied into a lot of the aspects that we talk about all the time on my channel as well as on my Instagram. But it did have some comments by the Duggars that I think might interest you, because as it relates to the IBLP. So the IBLP's teachings are hugely problematic. And over the weekend, the plaintiffs that sued Bill Gothard put together a very eloquent letter to Gothard to the IBLP about the deception that the IBLP had put out in their statement. They pointed out all of the different areas where they lied about the inferiority of women, they lied about the treatment of children, they lied about the lawsuit. Overall, it was very well put, and I'll put a link in the description box for you to read the response from the plaintiffs. I actually have it as a link in bio on my Instagram if you want to read it too. Basically, they answered all the questions, and I shared some of the teachings that are the most problematic of the IBLP that they included in their response to the IBLP. Overall, the IBLP kind of gaslit everyone in their responses. So, but the article sort of dove into the Duggars' ties to the IBLP, the teachings of the IBLP, and the downfall of this organization. So, one thing that most of you probably know is that the organization does not have any of their facilities, the training centers, open anymore. And that is actually due to complaints from people that were there, people not getting paid, and there was a lot of allegations of children getting hurt. So they shut down all of the facilities on the heat of all of that backlash, and today only have programs basically at their big Sandy Center, which are only a couple weeks in length. So they're not doing the inpatient treatment anymore. They're also hemorrhaging money, and they're not making the kind of money that they used to make. And Bill Gothard has been annexed from the organization, which he is the founder. He wrote all of the literature. He basically is the IBLP. So they have had the Duggar family. So if you think about it in this context, Bill Gothard, the biggest name in the IBLP, he gets thrown out in 2014 after all of these young women come forward and accuse him of inappropriate conduct of SH or SA when they were minors. And once he is ousted, they sort of put their, future on the Duggars, and the Duggars continue to promote the IBLP through their show on TLC, and they also have the Bates on Up TV promoting their agenda and promoting their seminars. So both the Duggars and the Bates are now off the air. The Duggars, their most famous family, then is in the news for Josh's scandals in 2015, the Ashley Madison stuff. The stuff comes out about what he did to his sisters. And then in just last year, he was arrested and now he's convicted. So the IBLP is trying to separate themselves from the Duggars, claiming they don't have knowledge of any of the participants, which we all know is bullcrap. And we know that the Duggars were hugely prominent, most famous, made this organization most well known, I think, of anyone in the mainstream media. And the Duggars, despite the fact they were trying to separate themselves from the Duggars actually defended the IBLP, which I don't know that we should be surprised. When they sort of talked to the Duggars about, the IBLP and their teachings and the problematic beliefs of them, this was their response. We do not agree with everything taught by Dr. Bill Gothard or the IBLP, but some of the life-changing biblical principles we learned through the IBLP's ministry have helped us deepen our personal walks with God. While we do not agree with everything taught by Dr. Bill Gothard, I got hung up on the Dr. Bill Gothard, and we'll get there in a second. They said that some of the teachings have been life-changing. I don't know about you, but it seems like they're pretty staunch sticklers to the IBLP, and they used all of the homeschool stuff. They're like the conference headliners. They promote their books. From everyone I've talked to, they are true IBLP believers, and that's why they stayed after Gothard was ousted. So they called Dr. Bill Gothard. So I looked up at Dr. Bill's bio, and I think you'll find this interesting. He says that he has a PhD from Louisiana Baptist University. And I actually worked in enrollment for 13 years before I actually changed courses. I worked in higher education, and that was actually where I feel like I got a really good deep love for research, critical thinking, and was able to hone my writing skills and my analysis and all of these skills that I bring to you every single day. And what I had to do a lot of the time was determine if people that were coming into school had credits that could transfer. And so I wimped up over to the website for Louisiana Baptist University, and I noticed that they're not accredited, literally, by anyone. So this is a Baptist university in name only. They might have programs, but they for sure do not have an accreditation. So Dr. Bill Gothard doesn't actually have a valid PhD. His PhD would not be recognized by the Department of Education. It would be not recognized by any of the major Bible colleges or even public schools in the nation. He would not be able to teach as a professor anywhere because he's not a doctor. He is a doctor in name only. And it's really odd that he would be so into using the name doctor, because he has an entire article about how there's the dangers of higher education, and he tells people not to get college degrees, but yet he refers to himself as a doctor. Back to this. So they revere him as Dr. Bill Gothard, even though he's not a doctor. I guess maybe that doesn't surprise me. I don't know. But once they sort of go into the allegations of Gothard against the other women, you know, the Duggars doubled down. And instead of disengaging themselves and realizing that the teachings are not biblical, but they are designed by Gothard, instead, this is what they said. The public accusations against Dr. Gothard, again, in recent years are troubling and grievous. Totally Gothard words. However, our faith in God is not based on following a fallible human man. Truth is truth, even if the messenger fails. So they believe that the program that Gothard has developed, where he takes scripture completely out of context and developed all these lesson plans on how to be the best Christian ever and all these rules, is the truth. They don't think that this is Gothard. They think the message is from God. Gothard is a fallible man. He was just the messenger of God's word, and God was using Gothard to bring his word out. Apparently, that's what I'm taking from this. And I knew that this was their position, but it's just, again, it concerns me the way that this culture works, because they really don't use critical thinking. They don't look at the teachings. They read what is told to them. They regurgitate what is said to them by Gothard. They can pick up their Bible. They could read the actual passages and see that what they're being taught is not biblical. There's nothing in the Bible that has an umbrella where there's an authority at the top. There's literally no discussion about an umbrella in the Bible. So I don't know how that's the truth. They have so many teachings that are not biblical. It's like they don't want to. I think it would be harder for them to realize that what they've been taught is false, that what they've been believing for years is false. And instead, again, I've told you this a million times, they're just going to blame Gothard for being fallible. But the truth is the truth. And that's kind of what the IBLP is saying. But, you know, it's funny because when Gothard is suing the IBLP to get a hold of his company again, and he said that it was his ministry, and the goal of the IBLP was to promote his ministry. So it's not God's ministry, it's Gothard's ministry. It's Gothard's opinions and it's Gothard's thoughts on God. That's all it is. You can't take a Bible and turn it into self-help booklets and seminars and say that that's what God is, because that's not what God is. God would be, if you're a Christian, the Bible, and nothing more, nothing less. That would be the Word of God. Everything added by anyone else is interpretation and added by a human and fallible and not the truth. So the Duggars basically defend the IBLP. Is anyone surprised? They don't like Anna's comment, but they defend the IBLP. Not shocking to me at all. Okay, so Anna Duggars, not supported basically literally by anyone in the family, and the Duggars defend the IBLP. The IBLP distance themselves from the Duggars. we'll have to see how this all plays out. And this week on Friday, the government will be responding to Josh's request for a new trial, which as soon as that is filed by the government, we will be doing a video for you. So keep your heads on a swivel. I think that's due on Friday. For now, that's what I have about this segment. We'll be getting into other things, Duggar, later on in the week. If there's anything that you need to know about or want to know about, let me know, as I'm opening up to more content on this channel as we as the Josh Duggar's case is sort of winding down and we get towards sentencing. If there's other things that you want to talk about that interest you, let me know. I don't do a lot of stuff on other YouTubers, so that would only be one area that I wouldn't be really searching into, but super into talking about cults, very interested in dissecting the patriarchy, always interested in smashing the patriarchy. And we've been kind of moving away from some of the reality shows, but if there is a reality show that you're interested in me taking a look at, you can always let me know that as well. I would not be able to do this without your feedback, and I always look to you for ideas, or if there's something fresh you want to see. I always will bring you stuff on my Instagram. So if you're interested to know other things that I talk about, go to my Instagram. It's a little bit different than it's very different than my YouTube, because YouTube's audience and Instagram audiences are different, but it's still me. So what are your thoughts about what's going on with Anna, with Duggars breaking their silence? And what are your thoughts about, it's not the IBLP's problem, it's Gothard. He's a fallible man. Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.